Hello, this is Richard Martinez with Unification. Today I'm going to talk about a subject that is a pretty heavy subject. There's a lot of controversy around it. There's a lot of opinions. There's also a lot of confusion and mystery, which is why I wanted to create a little clip. I had a couple people actually ask me to create a clip on this. So I began to do more study. I have studied on this before. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a specialist when it comes to this subject, but I have done a lot of study in it, and I have experience with it. Okay, so I just wanted to share what I have, the truth that I know, so it can bring some understanding to you and some freedom to you. So this subject that I'm going to be talking about is ADHD. Okay, ADHD is it's something that's really causing a lot of issues in people, not just because of what the symptoms are, but because they are in fear, trying to bring solution with medication and things like that, and it's just not really healing the problem. It's really just making it worse. So I just want to share some of these things with you to hopefully bring some enlightenment, some freedom to you regarding this issue. Okay, so I've done some study all over the internet, read books, but there's this one book, one website that you can check out yourself. It's called Psychology Debunked. It has some pretty good information on there regarding a lot of different diagnoses and things like that when it comes to psychology. Okay, so here's the situation. First of all, just to give you some statistics, to give you some insight of how this is really affecting us, the psychology stuff. Okay, so 80% of Americans have received some form of psychological service at some point in their lives. 80%. Psychological service, getting some kind of help regarding their the psychological issues. Okay, each year in the United States, 15% of adults and 21% of children see mental health professionals. So these are people who have issues or think they have issues or been told they have issues. They go see help, they go get help, right? And all that stuff costs money, of course. At least 25 million Americans take Prozac for their depression, for their anxiety, things like that. 25 million Americans, that's a lot of people on this drug. Okay, and we'll see later the effects of this drug. It's really not good at all. There's 10 million children who would take at least one psychiatric drug. That's 10 million children at least take one psychiatric drug. Okay, these are our kids. This is a big deal just to be on these drugs. They're serious drugs that actually cause different imbalances in the brain, in the body, and I'll get into this later. But just to give you a little glimpse of the situation, especially here in America and in the U.S., to see 80% has some kind of form of service regarding their psychological issues. 15% of adults and children have seen professionals regarding it. 25 million are on Prozac because of anxiety, depression, and stuff. 10 million children are on some kind of drug for psychiatric issues. Okay, so it's we're very sad, and it just gets worse. It's getting worse. So why though? Why is this getting worse? So let's get into this a little bit more. Don't take offense to any of this stuff. I'm just wanting to share truth to bring freedom to us, so we can get into solution rather than reacting out of fear because we don't understand. Okay, here's some facts. Again, a lot of these things I didn't know 2 years ago. Over the last 2 years, I've been studying a lot of this stuff and been gaining a lot of understanding. Okay, so here's some things that I didn't know that I want to share to see if you knew. Mental disorders are not like medical and physical conditions that like cancer and diabetes. Okay, mental disorders are not like that. Every mental disorder is it's just a list. What they do is they make a list of these behavioral these things that they observe in their behavior. So they say, if they look at me and they begin to observe my behaviors, right? So they make a list, and then they give that list of behaviors a label, a name. And then they take it into the APA board and they vote to see if this label is going to be in existence, if they're going to add it into their book of diagnosis. Okay, so mental disorders are not like physical, conditions that people have, like diabetes, cancer. Okay, it's just a list of behavioral things that they observe. They take these list of behaviors, they give it a name, a label, and then they sit around a table and vote to see if this should be in the book of diagnosis, the book of the issues, right? All right, so another thing is no one can actually prove mental disorders. We can't prove a mental disorder, a chemical imbalance, that we can't prove that. There is no lab test that exists to be able to prove depression, ADHD, bipolar, every other mental disorder. There is no test that can actually prove these issues that are becoming so big that we put a label on. It's become this giant in the U.S. that's just destroying people's lives because it's a false label, it's a false identity that people take on themselves, and it really robs them from taking responsibility for their lives because they have this victim thing, like, oh, I have this problem, and they take it on as their own, and they live out of that problem, out of that mindset. So it really changes the way people live because they feel like they have a problem. Okay, they're living out of a victim mentality to where they can't take responsibility for their actions because they blame it on something, so they never change. So it just keeps the issue there because like let me just keep going. I don't want to just ramble on this, right? So the next thing is that there is no reason to take a pill for these disorders because the chemical imbalance, again, has never been proven. So why take a pill to fix something that you cannot prove? Why put something in your body that's foreign to your body? You know, it's actually they're practicing, they're testing, they're seeing if it works. It's an experiment to give you these drugs because they have no idea what your disorder is, what your imbalance is. You can't prove it. So when they give you a pill, this is why they have their medical practicing license, so they can do this legally. So they're just doing an experiment. Let's just see if this works. Take this pill, this thing that's foreign to your body, that's never been into your body before. I don't know what's going to happen when you take it, but let's just see if it helps. Hopefully it helps. If this doesn't help, then we'll give you a bigger dosage to see if that helps. So it's really just an experiment to see if it works, right? So we don't need to take a pill to fix something that we have no way of proving that there's an issue there in the first place, okay? So these are just some truths, some simple truths. I know it rings true inside of you when you hear it. Here's another one. Psychiatric drugs actually cause chemical imbalances, okay? Because it's out of a long-term use, it actually can cause permanent brain damage and organ damage, and there's proof for that. You know, you probably have people around you, or maybe yourself, who has been on medication for years. It actually causes issues in your body somewhere because these are toxins that you're putting into your body that don't belong there, and it begins to affect different parts of your body. Everybody knows this. So actually putting those pills into our body is actually causing issues, right? All right. Another thing is that this is very hard-hitting right here. ADHD drugs actually cause violent and suicidal behavior. A lot of times, you know, we see on the news, we read in the newspaper of shootings in schools, you know, baby killings, things like that are happening around, and when we watch it, we're like, how can somebody like that, like, how can somebody do something like that? It's so, it feels so nasty, right? When we see stories like that, it breaks our hearts. But it's the amazing, very sad thing is that this is very documented, okay? You can look it up. It's very well documented that most of these shootings at schools and these baby killings, these different things that we see and we're so grieved with, these people are on some kind of psychiatric drug. This is just crazy. Not to make that an excuse for what they did, because but to share these effects that these drugs are having on people. It really causes a disorder in their thinking, and it can produce a suicidal, a very just violent behavior in people. Okay, so this is documented stuff right here. Okay, I'm not just making it up, not just saying it, but it's for real. Another thing is that when we look for these answers, right, from psychology, from all these things, they really just deliver empty promises, higher insurance bills, and just nasty side effects from taking the pills. Okay, so it's not really bringing solution. It's not helping anything if we really look at it. But because we don't understand what it is, we become afraid, and then the pharmaceutical company will use that mystery, will use that fear, using language that you don't understand, Latin language, in these issues, calling these behaviors these different names that you won't get. So it really gets you to react out of fear to buy their miracle pill so they can make money. Okay, this is just hard truth right here. All right, let's see another fact here that we can see. So it's really the power of the marketing of this, the pharmaceutical industries, whether it's psychology, psychiatry. These pharmaceutical industries market intentionally with a certain voice, with a certain message going out to really tell us, to prove to us that all these behaviors that used to be normal, just people don't act perfectly all the time, right? We are growing and maturing in life. We're learning how to be mature. Those issues, these behaviors once were normal as we grow into maturity, but now they are called diseases, like depression, anxiety, bipolar. So instead of just being behaviors that we have as we grow, as we are maturing into adults, into functional, loving people, they have labeled it an issue, a disease, said, hey, you're depressed, rather than, hey, you're just struggling in life right now. You're depressed, so takes a pill, right? It's so sad. It's so sad. Teachers and parents, again, because of fear, because of a misunderstanding, we begin to give these drugs to our kids, to misbehaving children, instead of taking a lot of times we see it as an easy fix. Oh, they're out of hand. I don't have time to instruct them, to love them, to train them, to show them how to be mature, how to grow up. I don't have time for that. I'm so busy. So let me just take them to the doctor so they can give them this miracle pill and fix the problem, right? I know that's maybe not be an intentional way of living for parents, because of course the parents don't want to hurt their children. Of course not. But a lot of times subconsciously that's how we live. It's not that we're intentionally hurting them, but it's like it's just too much. We don't understand. It's a heavy thing. I'm busy. I don't know about that. So let's just take them to the doctor and give them a pill, and hopefully that'll fix it. But as we're finding out, it's not working, right? So we really need to not look for these miracle pills, these miracle diets, these things, these easy fixes. These are just ways that people are making money off of you. So the answer is not a pill, but it's discipline, it's love, it's instruction, it's bringing this warmth, nourishment, and protection to these people so that they can begin to mature and grow, so they don't have these behaviors, right? Let's keep moving here. So what is ADHD anyways? What is it? Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. That's what the ADHD stands for. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Okay? So it sounds very scientific and credible, but also a little mysterious, right? Like, what is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder? Wow, that's scary. I hope I don't have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. But what exactly is it? Okay, so I was looking this up and I found this. Let's see where it's taken from the Diagnostic of Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 4th edition, American Psychiatric Association. So this is from a book from them. Okay, so it was transcribed word for word of ADHD to really define what it really means from the psychiatry's Bible of Mental Disorder. Okay, so this is from their book. actually taken apart to really see what they're saying, so you can see clearly what they're saying ADHD is. Okay, so I'm going to share. This is the diagnostic criteria from the what is it called? The Psychiatric Bible of Mental Disorders. So this is what the criteria is to show that you or I or anybody has this ADHD. Okay, here it is. You ready? This is so crazy. Here are the symptoms. There's the first, subject line as far as symptoms. There's inattention. So it's a person who often fails to give attention to details, careless mistakes, difficulty in sustaining attention. You can't really pay attention for a long time. There's no follow through on instructions, can't really finish well. Difficulty organizing, avoids tasks that require mental effort, like to focus. Just avoid that. Often easily distracted or forgetful. These are some symptoms right here, okay? I fit in these things. I look around and I see everybody can struggle with these things. So I'm like, wow, I guess we all have this. So what's the next subject line of symptoms? Hyperactivity. Okay, so often fidgets, can be someone who just can't really stay still. They often get up from the seat. They're running or climbing in inappropriate times. They're often on the go. They talk excessively. They're very talkative. Another subject line is to be impulsive. So they can blurt out answers before the question was finished, or they have difficulty waiting their turn. They interrupt and intrude on others. These are all symptoms that they say, if you have these symptoms, then you have ADHD. I know, I don't know if you did the same thing as I did, but you can hear these things and think, wow, I guess that's me, or that was me as a kid, or that's my kid. They have that, but man, this is normal stuff. This is being a kid. This is growing up and learning how to be mature. So what they do is they make the range of childhood, what's normal for a childhood, they make it really narrow intentionally, so that way it makes everyone a potential psychiatric drug customer. So they make it very narrow. Basically they say, look, if you are not compliant, if you're not behaving right, if you're not listening to instruction, then you have ADHD. It's basically what they're saying. So we can all be there at some time when we are not being mature, right? This could happen to anyone. So this is so crazy how people take this. If you're not compliant, then you must have ADHD. So here, take this pill. Give me your money, right? So, but if we really think about this, I know from myself growing up, I knew other kids this way. I know I was this way also. I could have been this way. It wasn't like this all the time, but this came out of me. I can be inattentive, hyperactive, impulsive. We knew kids like that, right? These are the kids that can be underachievers or, slackers, because they can be scattered. Those who are active, these are the class clowns, those who are very social with people. The clique leaders, the high energy motivational types. These types of people that are very outgoing. If we just learn how to direct them and use that energy for good ways through building a strong foundation so they can be mature, they can use this energy that they have and focus it so they can be dynamic people. Because when something becomes specific, it can become dynamic. So if you point their energy into a direction and really equip them, they can be world changers. They can be very powerful leaders in this world. So we need to look at it as potential, not a problem. All right, so let's keep going here. I hope this is helping you and shedding some light for you on ADHD. So really this ADHD really stems from the root of the problem is not, oh, I was created this way, I have a chemical imbalance. I guess I'm just stuck in this. I have no choice. I'm a victim to this thing that's on me, and I guess I just have to get beat up and struggle in life with it. That it's deception. It's not true. These things can change. This is not. Don't take this as a label, as an identity. Okay, this is just an area to grow into, to grow from. So ADHD, like any kind of behavior, misbehaving, really comes from immaturity and selfishness. People not having an understanding of what they're here for. People that just make it all about themselves, that are very selfish, and that's why they intrude, interrupt, and distract. They just don't have an understanding of that yet. So we need to take time and put our time, self, and wealth into our kids, into these people, to equip them, to bring stability to their inner being, because their inner reality will define their outward reality. So if inside they're very, they're uneasy, they have all this stuff going on outside, that's what the behavior is going to become. So we don't want to just change the behavior. That doesn't change the problem. And that's what actually the miracle pills are doing. They're just trying to stop the symptom, which is a signal of something else. It's not healing the issue that is inside. It's just stopping the signal, correcting behavior. So it really just disconnects the person emotionally, so they become kind of more focused and kind of disconnected emotionally. Do we really want to do that? Disconnect people like that from who they really are. I don't want to do that. So again, ADHD, it stems from an immaturity. It stems from a selfishness that they have not been equipped in yet. Okay. So again, our inward reality will define our outward. So if we really begin to help our kids, help the people with love, to equip them what love is. So this means we as parents, or we as people who are going to help them, need to know and understand and experience what love is. Okay? And then instruct them. Give them instruction. When we instruct them, when we think about instruction, it's instruction within, inner structure. So when we are instructing them, we're building an inner structure within them that can hold a maturity, so they're not behaving or misbehaving, right? So again, the solution is not drugs, not a miracle pill, but it's really love, equipping them, bringing a stability on the inside so that the outside will also gain stability. Okay? So let me share some practical things that can help with ADHD. And doing different research, I saw that flaxseed oil, omega-3 oils can really help with ADHD. They help the body to convert the EPA, which is a fatty acid, and DHA, which is omega-3 fatty acid. It helps convert them into in our bodies to create. It really helps with the depression, all that stuff. It creates a stability inside of us. Okay, omega-3 oils help with a lot of stuff. Really, they lower your LDL, which is your bad cholesterol. Protects cells from mutation that leads to cancer. It gives you helps create healthy blood pressure, reduce arthritis symptoms. So it can really do a whole lot for you. So might as well have more omega-3 anyways. You can get that in fresh wild tuna, fresh wild salmon. They have a lot of pills that you can get now, supplements in the stores. Just make sure that it's quality. I usually don't recommend supplements, but if you have a child or somebody who's really struggling with it, just look into having the ones that are created for children, that are organic, that are safe for them, and try it out. Have them get more omega-3s, and it really will help bring stability to the ADHD. Sunlight also helps with ADHD. Exercise really helps with ADHD. So from a holistic viewpoint, the chemicals that we're putting through the pills isn't really helping anything, because it's actually causing more stimulation in the brain, which was the problem in the first place, right? So here's some answers regarding the ADHD, just to be practical from the Ayurvedic point of view. Okay, Ayurveda is just a way of living a balanced life. So it's not like there's a certain diet or way of eating or anything like that, but it's based on the person to bring balance to that person. So in the Ayurveda way of living, there is what's called vata. Vata is a type of person. There's how there's different personalities and stuff like that. Well, the Ayurveda has their own names, and the one who would be ADHD, who is like that, that's more the Vata. That's what they call it. Okay. Well, the person who is Vata tend to have a sensitive nervous system, which means that they will begin to experience life and the world around them in a very heightened sensitivity. Okay, so they're very sensitive to outside stimulation and stuff like that. So this is why they are prone to anxiety, to inattention, to restlessness, to sleeping problems. Because that's going on in them. They're just distracted by outside stimulation. Even though it distracts them, that's what they begin to be drawn toward. It's ironic, but they begin to be drawn to these highly stimulating activities. Like video games and stuff like that. It's very, for your nervous system, it's very stimulating, but it just goes into the problem that was there to begin with, the overactivity of the nervous system, right? So when we give them the drugs, it does the same thing. So we don't want to get people stuck on the stimulation outside. We want to bring comfort to them and comfort to their soul, again, through the love, through the equipping, and that's what's going to bring the healing to it, the stability. Okay. So what we usually do is, what do? We prescribe the ADHD drugs, but what do those do? Do they work? People can say yes. I guess they do work in that they do what they're supposed to do, but are they fixing the real issue at the root? No, they're not. Okay, because the ADHD drugs, they stimulate brain cells. This is what they do. It stimulates the brain cell. Why? To release more neurotransmitters, which are called dopamine and neuropinephrine. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But these things help them concentrate, but they also increase the activity in the nervous system, which was the problem in the first place. So it's really just perpetuating the underlying cause of ADHD. So yes, on the outside it stops the symptoms, so it looks like they're controlling, but it's actually just bringing more chaos inside of them. Don't do this to your children. Don't do this to people. Let's get an understanding of what ADHD is so that we can bring true solution, real solution, not a miracle pill. All right, let's see. So here are some practical things that we can do. If you have a child that has ADHD, maybe yourself or somebody else, you can give them these tools to equip them. Okay, one thing that you can do to take control with this is to create a routine. Because again, the person who has ADHD, who has taken that, is very distracted and very not stable and just everywhere, right? So if you create a routine, it really causes a stability, a structure in that life. Because ADHD people are drawn to activity, adventure, change, right? So the opposite is what brings the balance. Rather than activity, adventure, and change, we need to bring the opposite, which is calming, relaxing, nurturing. That is what's going to bring solution to the person with ADHD. So you need to have regular schedules and structure for exercise, for homework, for relaxing, for eating, for going to bed. Create an environment that is comforting, that is nourishing and loving for that person, to bring the relaxing, again, that structure. This helps the person who has ADHD to function normal. Okay, this is how you bring the solution to the inside. Okay, so that structure really helps. Relaxation really helps, because again, it's the opposite, to bring balance. Okay, so don't just give them more activity stuff to keep them distracted, because we don't want to just keep them distracted. We want to bring stability inside of them. So another thing is to bring a relaxation. There's different things you can do with this. You can be creative. Like for instance, with my kids, I can pick them up from school, and they can be very, blah, 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 talking so much, and they're very scattered. And so getting home and doing homework is not very easy when they're in that kind of mode, right? So what I do is I bring them home, and I won't put them straight to homework. I'll let them play a little bit, but then I have them sit down on the couch with me, and I'll just love on them. We just have just some time just to be, okay? And I just ask them about their day, very calmly. I'm just holding them, loving them. I speak words of life over them. I just build them up in who they are and their identity. And then once I get them to do their homework, their behavior is stable. Now they can focus on their work because I just loved on them. I just poured stability inside of them, right? So you can do that. You can even make it into a game if the kids are younger. If they don't, it's hard to get them to sit still. You can do this for yourself if you're an adult. You can just lay down and it's an exercise. It's practicing to get in tune with who you are, to bring stability from within. You can just lay down and just imagine, play a game, imagine love just being poured on you. And just ask them to feel themselves from head to toe. To feel like love is just being dripped on them, and just get them to imagine, to feel the love covering them, right? Just melting over them. Get them to take some deep breaths as they're doing this, to get them to learn how to be calm, right? This will really help them to relax, taking a deep breath, just playing that game. You can do this when you get home from school, before bedtime. Any times when they are overstimulated, those are good times to bring the opposite of love, of stability, of relaxation. That's when you need to do it. You need to do it on purpose, with intention. Okay? And if you do it with consistency, it's really going to bring a change, a transformation into that person. So that's another thing you can do. Another thing you can do is you can do like a massage, like a bedtime massage before they go to bed, or even during the day, whenever you can, really. I know it's harder for some people because we don't have that much time to be doing massages, but what you can do is just get a tablespoon of organic, unrefined oil. It can be olive oil, almond oil, sesame oil. These things are very grounding. They help people feel grounded, okay? So get olive, almond, sesame oils, organic, unrefined ones. Just put a tablespoon in your hand, rub it, and just massage your child, massage that person. That oil will go into the skin and bring a stabilizing effect in their body. And just loving their body that way really brings it into relaxation also, okay? Just wipe off with the towel the residue after, but let it soak into their body. That the oil is going into their body and bringing nutrients, calming, stability, nutrients, stabilizing nutrients into their body. If you don't have time to do full body stuff like that, that's okay. Massage their feet. Just massage their feet. You can use lavender essential oil also. There's different essential oils that you can use to also bring calming effect. So look into those things and put it onto their feet. Their feet is where where we have our biggest pores, so it absorbs a lot through there. So these massages will really help, again, to bring that stability. Okay, it's loving that person, bringing the opposite of distraction and chaos and hyperactivity, bringing the opposite to bring the balance. Okay. Another thing is diet and nutrition. You can do a lot of different study online, and I was looking at this, and I didn't see a lot of people who are connecting diet with ADHD. But then again, when you talk to other health coaches, when you talk to people who have gotten their clients to change their diet, you will hear clearly that it helps so much, right? Because there's parents who have reduced their child's intake of sugar, unrefined foods with chemical additives like, food dyes, preservatives, MSG, artificial coloring, artificial flavoring, all that stuff. When parents take that stuff out of the diet, this is what they report. A significant improvement, huge improvement, to where the child, within 4 to 8 weeks, the child is more focused, less disruptive. They begin to get more stability. They're more functional in different situations. Their behavior is just better. So please try it. Just try it out. Take it from with the kids, from yourself. Get rid of all these, preservatives, these MSG, all these things, these fake stuff that we put into, because that brings chaos into our body. So if you take all those things in and you bring in the raw, the true organic foods, the whole foods, vegetables, especially the vegetables that are in the ground, because if you think about it, the ones that are in the ground, especially underground, those are rooted, right? And they make when you eat it, you take the energy of that and you feel rooted. You feel grounded. Okay? So there's different foods like, let's see, let me give you a list here. Let's see. Okay, here's some vegetables that you can give to help bring just a rooting, a stabilizing feel to the body. Okay, here's some things you can eat for your diet: carrots, potatoes, radishes, beets, onions, garlic. These are all things that are grown in the ground, right? And they make you feel more grounded. It makes sense. Protein-rich foods, eggs, meats. I wouldn't recommend too much meat. See, beans, peanut butter, different spices like horseradish, chives, cayenne pepper, things like that are very rooting. They're grounding. They ground you. So these are different foods that you can eat. Okay, so yes, it does make a difference when you change your diet, when you change their diet. Okay, what are some other things we can go here? There's some natural herbs that you can use that soothe, that nourish the nervous system. There's lemon balm, chamomile, passion flower. They come in teas and tinctures. You can just look them up on different things that bring that calming effect and begin to try them out. Okay, it's easier to try these things out because they're natural. So there's not any of these side effects. By the way, there is no such thing as a side effect. There's just cause and effect, right? There's not a side effect. It's just causes and effect. We put that it's just for legal reasons. So don't think of it as a side effect because they're just guessing. Like, they don't know what it's going to do in your body. Remember, it's practicing. So they just put those lists so they don't get sued. There is no side effect. You take this and it just reacts differently to different people, and you will get different symptoms. Okay, you will get some different reactions. So, but with natural herbs and natural foods and stuff like that, you can experiment all you want because they're natural. There's no chemical stuff that will harm you. So try these things out, and I know they will work. Just try them out. Another thing to do to help with people who have the ADHD, especially with kids, because I know with kids, especially these days, it wasn't the same for myself. I was always outside, but these days there's phones and video games and computer games, TV, all these things that are stimulating the brain, right? Well, these actually help fragment their attention. And it also exposes them to the radiation from the TV, which, if they're very sensitive already, that radiation will affect them because they're already highly sensitive, right? So really try to limit the screen time from them. You don't want to make their life miserable. So become creative in finding different ways to get them to stimulate themselves. Okay, rather than watching TV or video games all day, maybe get them a remote control car. So it's something away from the screen and the radiation and stuff. Okay, just find some alternatives that they can enjoy, some positive ways to get them going in the direction that will bring healing to their chaos behavior. All right. So I have some blogs that I've written on my website. My website is www.uyou-nify.com. So it's u-nify.com, unify.com. And on there I have a couple blogs that I've written. One's called Kids Health and Development. And here I go over 8 different principles that are very important to establish in our children's life. Okay, these things are going to help people with not just with ADHD, but with any issue. Because as a health coach, I'm not trying to fight disease. I'm not trying to fight sickness. Okay, I'm here to establish principles of health in people's life, and that takes care of the sickness and disease. It just pushes it out. So I'm not trying to fight these things. I'm just trying to establish principles of health that will take care of that automatically. Okay, so we don't want to fight the bad behavior. We want to establish good principles in these people's lives so that changes their life from the inside out. Okay, we're not trying to control behavior. It just discourages you, and it will discourage them. Don't try to control behavior. It needs to be changed from the inside out. So I have, again, this blog called Kids Health and Development. I have things like, a loving covenant relationship with their parents. That's important. Water, healthy food, movement, sunlight, sleep, joy, hope, and passion, fresh air. These are principles of health that are very important to establish in your kid's life, in your life. So this will really help bring stability in their life and health in their life, okay? So you can look that up on my website. There's another one that I have called Parenting with Intention and Purpose. Okay, and this is really, because I really believe that all the issues between us and our kids come from a disconnection. There's not a connection, a relationship, an intimacy there, right? So there's not that love being there. So I created this blog to really equip us and to encourage us how to gain a good connection with our kids, with people. You can apply this to any people, really, not just with kids. Love always being the goal, connection and attention, a respect for authority and obedience, things like this. Security, creative individuality, modeling transparency. These are different things that I touch on in my blog to show us how to develop a really strong relationship that promotes stability, that promotes good behavior, stuff like that, okay? So I would encourage you to go check those out for more resources to really help with your children or clients or friends or family who are struggling with ADHD or anything else, really, okay? So this is what I have for you today. It's for bringing the truth, bringing some new understanding, I hope, for you regarding this ADHD, which is a deception, it's a lie. So again, be encouraged. Don't live under this mystery. Get an understanding so you can live in freedom and you take dominion over these things and not just be a victim because you don't know. All right? So thank you so much. Again, this is Richard Martinez with Unification. Please look up my website. I have a lot of good information on there. I have a YouTube channel where I have a lot of amazing information on these clips. So please just check them out. And thank you so much, and I really appreciate you.